Good morning. Hello. How are you doing? If we've not met before, my name's Abby Watson. I'm the founder of Love Your Birth. I'm a hypnobirthing teacher, trainer and mentor. And today I'm here to talk about if I was to start my hypnobirthing business again, this is what I'd start with. Then this is what I do next, and this is what I do thirdly. Because I know when we start anything new, okay, we can become overwhelmed with all the things that we possibly could get on with, and we can feel like we've got so much to do that actually we end up doing very little, okay. Also, when I reflect back on when I started my local hypnobirthing business over 8 years ago, I definitely made lots of mistakes. And one of the biggest mistakes that I made was not getting started quickly, And looking back now, with what I know now and with hindsight, this is how I'd do it if I was to start again. So do let me know who is here today. Good morning, Ashley. Gorgeous to see you. Good morning, Kirsten. Morning, Jennifer. Morning, Julia. Oh, lovely to see lots of you. And lovely to see lots of you that are in the early part of this journey, because I really hope that this live video today will really help you, kind of feel like, okay, let me focus on what I need to focus on right now and be really intentional with your time, okay? Because when we feel like we've got to do a logo, we've got to print flyers, we've got to record audios, we've got to create resources. Oh my God, should I be on TikTok? Should I create a YouTube channel? Should I do this? Should I do that? We probably end up doing very little. Or what we do end up doing is like spreading ourselves really thin and not being very focused with the bits that we are doing. Good morning, Victoria. Morning, Susan. Morning, Louisa. And morning, Sophie. Gorgeous to see you all. It's very sunny and beautiful here. I've got my dresses out of the cupboard. I'm full on like embracing the warmer weather. And I made a little like pact to myself this weekend. Me and my husband went away for a night and we had a really like tame night away, just resting, which was lovely. But do you know what was really nice when I was away? Like the little details, like going for a drink somewhere, and I wasn't drinking alcohol. I'm not pregnant, by the way. But I'm trying to have a little break from alcohol at the moment because my tummy's not been great. But anyway, you don't want to hear all about my tummy problems. But anyway, I've been coming away from alcohol. So when we've been going out, when we're away, we're going to these lovely places and having like beautiful teapots. And I was like, I love the detail, but sometimes in everyday life, I miss it, So my new little pact is to wear the dresses, get out the lovely teapots, do all those things. Don't save them till special occasions, because actually every day can be really special. So yes, that was my little take-home message from the weekend. Morning, Hayley. Morning, Charlene. Right, let's crack on then. Okay, so if I was to start my hypnobirthing business again, okay, being an impatient soul that I am, hands up if you're also an impatient soul, I would want to be getting clients as quick as I possibly could. I'd be training to become a hypnobirthing teacher, and I'd want to be getting clients in my diary as fast as I could. That's definitely, one of my characteristics, that I want things done yesterday. Okay, so if I was starting my hypnobirthing business again, I would definitely know that I would want to be getting clients as soon as possible. And with what I know now, I know that once you start getting clients, it becomes so much easier because you have other people that you have worked with that are also spreading the word about you. So getting on that train of having clients would be something that I'd want to do ASAP, okay? So if I was starting again, what I would do is I would enroll in my training and immediately I would start talking publicly about what I'm doing. Now, interestingly, okay, I wouldn't start a business Facebook page straight away. I wouldn't mess about on Instagram straight away. I wouldn't start on my website straight away. I would focus on my training, okay, really indulge and enjoy that, okay? And at the same time, I would use what I already have to talk about what I'm doing. So that would mean taking to my personal social media pages. And yeah, there'd be a bit inside me that would be like, oh, well, who's going to be interested? Well, people will be interested because on your personal profiles, you have many people who already support you, already love you. And yes, they're not necessarily future clients. They're not. But you know what they will get excited by? Okay, not necessarily birth tips, but they will get excited by the vision of the business, okay? What you're wanting to do for people, what you are wanting to bring to the world. So what I would be doing firstly would be telling the world, guess what? I've decided to train as a hypnobirthing teacher. This is why, okay? A few days later, how hypnobirthing changed my life and how I want to change other people's life, okay? Why I care so much about hypnobirthing a few days later, okay? Notice what all the content is around, the why, you know? Why you're doing it, why it makes a difference. Because, yeah, like your ex-colleague probably doesn't really care about birth tips or, you know, how to have a calm birth. Maybe she's beyond that stage in her life, but she definitely can be on board with helping people, okay? And again, whilst these people are not necessarily the people that are going to book your services, these are people out in the world who know other people, okay? And most hypnobirthing teachers and most other like service-based businesses, quite frankly, will find that their first clients are often friends of friends, okay, or even friends themselves, okay. Now, why wouldn't I crack straight on and create a Facebook page, an Instagram page directly for the business? Because I'd hugely get distracted by the detail, you know? I'd start thinking, oh my gosh, I need to choose my brand colours. I need to maybe have a logo. What do I need to write in my bio? And whilst I was training, I wouldn't need that burden, okay? So what I would be doing is using what I have now and talking about what is coming soon and how fantastic it is, okay? And you never know who is listening, okay? My first ever clients were 2 ex-colleagues that I worked with. And yeah, that scared me a little bit because they already knew me. It felt like a bigger deal to like put on this amazing course for them, okay? But I know if I hadn't have started talking publicly, that wouldn't have happened. Now, if you know my story, you know I didn't start talking publicly about offering hypnobirthing until way after I'd been certified. And this is what I'd do differently. I'd start now, okay? So number 1 takeaway, start now and use what you have. And when you're talking about what you're doing, Talk about the why, the vision, what it's going to bring to the world, what it's going to do for people, because everybody can be on board with that, okay? And even huge businesses do this, okay? So if you think about businesses like Dove, you know, the deodorant, the shower gel, you know, they don't just talk about their products. You know, often they'll have campaigns around body positivity, you know, loving yourself more, all this kind of stuff, because that kind of vision and mission, anybody can get on board with, you know, and it helps people have this wonderful view of what they offer, okay? When you're starting a hypnobirthing business, you can absolutely do that ASAP, okay? And you don't need to fanny around, sorry for saying fanny, with colours, Canva, anything like that. Just crack on with what you've got. And I know a bit of procrastination will knock on your door and say, oh, but why don't you start thinking about fonts and start thinking about how pretty you want your logo to look? Definitely, but not right now, okay? Build an awareness of what is coming soon, ASAP, okay? So that's how I'd start firstly, whilst I'm training, okay? As soon as I'd done my training, okay, so as soon as I'd completed, and because, like I said, I'm an impatient person, I'd want to do the training as quick as I possibly could, you know? And that's why when I created my training school, I created it so flexibly so that some people who wanted to do it quickly could, you know? They didn't have to be waiting months and months and months to be certified. If they want to whiz through the content and attend the next live training, they absolutely can. And that's what I'd do, okay? I'd focus on getting it out there. I'd complete my training. And once I had my certificate, because I know I'd done all my assessment and all my, you know, focus has been on that, then I would start thinking about things like a business Facebook page, a business Instagram page. If I was going to create a group, you know, anything that is about audience building, you know, building people who ultimately are expecting babies that are potential clients, I'd start that after I was certified. But I've still been talking about it for so long. What that means is by the time I come to do my business pages, I've already got people that are on board with this story. That when I'm saying, look, I've got a business page now, invite anybody you know that's expecting a baby to it. They're so much more likely to do it because they're on board with the story and the mission. You know, they're there as a cheerleader for you. Yeah, they're potentially not a potential client, potentially. But there's somebody that most likely cares about your business like you do, okay? And creating these social media pages, I would definitely have the approach of done is better than perfect. Interestingly, I wouldn't worry about a logo. I would have the profile picture as a clear picture of me, okay? If we're talking about Facebook, the cover photo would be something that I'd created, you know, on something like Canva that says what the service is about, you know. Hypnobirthing for a calmer birth, for example. Just that clarity, that's what I do. Simple, clear, get it out there. And then, because I'm on stage 2 now, I would be focused on the types of clients, okay, that I want to attract. So what I would be doing is I would be really getting myself in the headspace of those expectant parents that I want to come into my world. You know, the people that I know I can help. So I'd really be thinking about that person expecting a baby, feeling anxious. That person feeling like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do it? feeling like, oh my gosh, I just need to, you know, maybe go with what everybody's telling me to, because actually, you know, what I think doesn't matter. I'd be really getting myself in the headspace of that person. And then I would be posting things that are going to be of use to them. Okay. Not, you know, the other hypnobirthing teacher that's followed me, you know, not the other doulas that have followed me, the expectant parents that I want to hang around my page, you know. My content would be speaking to them. So with that, I would be talking about my story. So I'd still continue with my story. Why I'm doing this, who I want to help. Okay. I'd be thinking about what tips I can share that are relevant to them, that are going to be interested to them. So for example, I might have been learning about induction of labour, and I might think, 4 things to know about induction, and I wouldn't post it. No. Because I'd be thinking about the types of people that would follow my page, and I'd be thinking, actually, I'm not sure they're in that headspace yet. They don't even know they need to know about induction. So I wouldn't be posting that. What do they want to know? Well, maybe they want to know how to make their labour quicker, you know? So I do a post on that. 4 ways to make your labour quicker. So I'd be thinking about the content that they'd actually be interested in, because that's how you're going to create fans, not just random people that follow your page. Okay. At this stage, I would be telling people about what I'm offering. I would be saying I'm taking enrolments for one-to-one courses, and I absolutely would be starting with one-to-one courses. I would work up to doing group courses. Okay. So stage 1, I'd be doing my training whilst using my own personal profile. Stage 2, I would be creating my profiles, but I would be really thinking about those expectant parents that I want to attract. Okay. And I would be creating content especially with them in mind. Okay. I'd be telling them about my courses and what it's going to do for them. And do you know what else I'd do in stage 2, which might surprise you? I'd invest in a professional photo shoot. With what I know now, I'd do that a lot sooner. I didn't have my first professional photo shoot until 2 years into my business. And yeah, using any photos that you've got is still powerful. But why do I think I'd invest in it sooner? Well, because people do make quick snap judgments on what's a professional business and what isn't. Okay. And whilst I do feel that, you know, more informal photos amongst the professional ones are great, there is something really valuable about having those professional photos. Okay. Also, it is so much easier to be visible if you have got a bank of photos that you actually like. Okay. If you are like, oh my God, I know I need to show my face on social media, on my website, but I haven't got any photos. Oh, quick, I better take some. It's another thing like in your way, isn't it? Whereas if you have got a bank of photos that look great, you are so much more likely to use them. And what I know about clients booking you is they are so much more likely to book you if they have built this know, like and trust factor with you. And actually seeing the person behind the business is going to do that faster. Okay. Now, please know with a professional photo shoot, you can pay anything from, you know, next to nothing to thousands of pounds. I certainly would be going with a small budget when I started out. Okay. And you'll be able to find it. Okay. even if it is not a business photographer, so even if it is not somebody that specialises in branding photos. My first ever photo shoot was somebody who'd never done branding photos before, but they'd done lifestyle and family photos, and it's a really similar thing, you know? So I absolutely would have a photo shoot early on, okay? So let's have a look at some of these comments. So, morning Bronwyn. I don't know why this concept of promoting before I'm ready makes me feel anxious. I think this is so normal, you know, and this is really true if you are somebody who is or can be a bit of a perfectionist. You know, you like to have all your ducks in a row before you do things, okay? And also, it can come from this feeling of, like, are people judging, okay? But know that nobody knows, like, the stuff you haven't yet done, you know? People just see things on face value anyway, okay? And there's so many people out there doing exactly this, you know, talking about things that they are about to do, okay? And honestly, it will make such a difference, okay? Frankie says, this is what I need to make time to do my branding photos. Yeah, isn't it interesting that people who know the power of photos are often the ones slowest to do it? So Lena says, it's deciding which kind of photos to have. Do you know what? Again, done is better than perfect. I would simply, so if I was going for a simple photo shoot, okay, at the beginning of my business, I would just get some really good photos, headshots. You know, even if you've got 4 of those, you are going to use them so much. So it can just be a really smiley photo of you, okay? Simple. And it's going to look so great, and you are going to be proud to use that more than you would if you just did a random selfie or you tried to dig out some photos when you were at a wedding a couple of years ago, okay? So definitely just simple. You can do fancy ones later down the line. You know, you can do fancy ones with your props and all that kind of stuff later down the line. But definitely, personally, if I was to do it again, I would get some branding photos earlier in the game, okay? But on a budget, okay? So, Laura says, yes, I paid £0 for my photo shoot. Love that. Met with a local maternity photographer and took her leaflets in return. Absolutely love that. Me too, Laura. My first ever branding photo shoot, like I said, was not a branding photo person, you know, photographer, that's the word. But she worked with expectant parents and new parents, so she wanted to build connections. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Victoria says, other than Facebook, where would you advertise and how? Okay, e.g. posters, etc. Apologies if you said this already. My phone died, so I was out for a few minutes. So, in terms of this live that I'm doing now, because I'm talking about what I do firstly, second and thirdly, posters, other things like that wouldn't play a part yet, okay? So what I'd be doing is using my personal profile. Then, once I'd certified, I'd be setting up my business one. So I'd do, personally, I would choose Facebook and Instagram, okay? Because I'd be thinking about where most people that, you know, I want to attract hang out and where people look for services. So I know as much as people say Facebook is dead, and it's not, by the way, you know, if you look at the statistics around how many people use Facebook daily, it's definitely not dead. And if you are running a local service, it's far easier to utilise things like groups, local groups, if you're on Facebook, rather than just focusing on Instagram. So I'd do Facebook and Instagram, and I'd be doing a lot of recycling between the two, repurposing, you know, making the most of my content. Okay, I would think about other forms of advertising later. The reason I'd be so focused, okay, is because when we really focus on a couple, you know, we do it better than we spread ourselves thin, okay. What would I be doing next? Okay, so once I'd done the first 2 steps, and I'd be talking about within a couple of months, I'm not talking about waiting years or anything like that. But, you know, once I feel like, okay, I've got my social media pages established, I'm really focusing on building it up as a great place to be for expectant parents, what am I doing next? My 3rd step would be to build a great website. And that is simply because in the early days of my business, my main focus was local clients, okay? And I know that every single month there are people searching local classes. Now with a website, it does take a bit of time for that website to be ranking on Google. So that's why I wouldn't wait a year, 2 years to do that website, okay? So I would then begin working on my website, okay? But even before that, I'd be offering classes, you know? I'd be offering one-to-one courses, okay? So in terms of that website, again, like I said in step 2, I would be really focusing on that client that I want to attract. You know, what do they need to see on this website? You know, how can I speak to them? You know, so saying things like, I know you might feel like blah, blah, blah. I know you might be worried about doing hypnobirthing because you think it might be a bit woo, but let me tell you. So I'd be really thinking about that dream client. And of course, I'd be using the branding photos that I'd done at step 2, okay? Again, that's going to make it have this really professional, this really like credible visual, isn't it? Okay. I would be owning what I do. Okay. As much as it might feel uncomfortable to write it, I would be writing things such as, I'm a hypnobirthing specialist. So that's what you are when you've trained as a hypnobirthing teacher. And these kind of words build that credibility. Okay. Let's have a look. Frankie says, if you are uncomfortable with headshot photos, you can always get ones of you in action. Love that. Yeah, sometimes holding a mug of tea really helps you relax a bit. Yeah, because, yeah, I love that, Frankie, because, yeah, me saying headshots might have made people think like the corporate ones. That is certainly not what I mean. What I mean is good, clear photos of you. And yeah, it may be you laughing into your cup of tea. You know, photographers have got a great way of making you feel at ease when you're having your photos done. And that's one of the reasons that they do look so much better than when your partner tries to take them of you and you feel really awkward. Okay. So Hayley says, I really struggle with how I look, so this fills me with terror. Do you know what, Hayley? I hear you so much, and you know, I want to say like, oh, it doesn't matter, like nobody is seeing that, but it does matter what we feel like, doesn't it? You know, and I know, like myself, I've definitely put photo shoots and things off, like thinking silly things to myself. So for me, I'm often thinking like, oh, I'll wait until I've lost a bit of weight to do that, you know? And I really know it can feel a big deal knowing you are going to get all these photos of you to look at, okay? The thing that helps me is knowing that I'm doing this so that that person that's looking at my stuff feels connected to the person behind the brand. I'm not doing this to show how gorgeous I am or whatever that may be, you know? And in actual fact, like reframing it, that you know, if I'm not feeling like you know, I'm looking the best or whatever, like, in actual fact, that might make me more relatable to other people. Okay. I definitely know being visible in your business is really important, and I know that comes with such a mindset struggle for so many of us, and it absolutely has for me too. You know, I hated watching myself back on videos. I hated, like, if I went on social media and my own post popped up and I saw my face there. But I tell you what, like, you can acclimatise to it. You really can. You know, the more you do it, the more you expand your comfort zones. And this is why I do suggest a professional photo shoot, because then you take that everyday pressure of thinking like, oh, I need to take a photo looking good away, you know? And, you know, there's photos that I would share in my business that I would never share on my personal profile. Why is there a difference? Well, because, like, my vision for my business is so big, you know, and it's making that vision and what you want to do for people so much bigger than the fear that you hold, you know? Making those worries that are like natural and common, like, not as big as what you are trying to achieve, okay? And it's also knowing, and this might be controversial, okay? This might be absolutely controversial, and people have asked me this question so many times. Like, is it okay to put a filter on? Well, you know what? We shouldn't feel like we have to put a filter on. But if that makes you feel more able to be visible, then yeah, do it. We all have a filter in somewhere. Do I ever do a live without a full face of makeup? No, you know? So it's okay to get more comfortable being visible by taking time to think, right, what is going to help me feel good? You know, and what helps me feel good and what helps you feel good might be really different things altogether, okay? But definitely focusing on, like, why you are doing this, you know? Like, I am sure you see all the time that people who are visible as the person behind the brand do a lot better in their businesses than people who hide away, okay? You know, like, we want to throw everything we've got at our businesses. We don't want to look back and think, oh God, if only, you know, I hadn't let that silly voice in my head saying that, you know, I don't look good enough to get on camera. I don't look good enough to show a picture of myself. I wish I hadn't have let that stop me. Okay. We don't want to think that, do we? You know, there's people out there that need your services and need them from you. You know, they're not going to resonate with anybody else, okay? But to build that trust, actually seeing the person behind the business, the person that they're going to work with, is likely to get you more bookings. It is. You know, and I'm sure that's been the case with businesses that you've used, especially when it's such a personal service. Okay. Frankie says, a good photographer will also be happy to listen to your worries, the bits you don't like, and help you work around that to get the best photos of you. Love that, Frankie. Absolutely. And, you know, this is, again, one of the benefits of going to a professional rather than just trying to do it yourself or trying to crop out certain things out of photos that you've already got. Okay. So, okay. those are the order of the things that I would do, okay? Later on, I would think about the networking, the printed marketing, the other things, but those are the first 3 things that I would do. So firstly, to sum up, as soon as I enrolled, I'd be cracking on, telling people what I'm doing and why, the vision, you know, why this makes a difference. People don't know what you're on about when you say I'm training as a hypnobirthing teacher. Make sure they do know, because these are going to be the people that talk about what you are doing in rooms that you are not in, okay? Secondly, okay, then I would be doing my business social media pages on whatever platforms I decide to focus on. And for me personally, that would be Facebook and Instagram. Doesn't have to be for you, okay? But I wouldn't choose any more than that in the early days, because I don't want to spread myself thin. I'd rather really nurture those communities than spread myself thin, okay? During that time, I wouldn't be worried about other stuff. I'd be focusing on that, okay? And then after a couple of months, I would be working on my website, okay? Those stages would help me be so much more focused on where I'm going, using my time effectively. That doesn't mean that's where I'd stop with my marketing at all, okay? Once I've built my business, my website, for example, I'd be making sure there was something on my website that was capturing emails, you know? I wouldn't necessarily do that straight away, okay? But I'd be doing it soon, okay? So notice at no point in all of that have I said I'd be recording audios in my own voice. I'd be creating my own resources. Notice that at no point in any of those stages I was saying that, because I wouldn't focus on that. In the early days of growing a business, I would be focusing on getting my business out there. The other stuff can come later. I would absolutely use the stuff that I already had, you know, so if I'm imagining that I trained with me, I would be using all the stuff that I got provided with. I'd be using the audios. I'd be using the workbook. If I wanted to evolve that'd come later. But I would be focusing on those 3 stages first, okay? And then the other stuff can come, but by that point, you're most likely to have clients under your belt, okay? Because you've been focusing on getting in front of the right clients, okay? So that is what I would do. Please let me know if you have any questions, okay? Let me know if you have any questions. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm perfectly aware that there are many other ways of marketing my business. Yeah, there is. I could be offering taster sessions, you know? I could be networking. I could be offering to do collaborations with people. But in those early days, I wouldn't be moving on to that just yet, okay? That would come later, okay? Oh, you are welcome, Paige. Lovely to see you on here. You're welcome, Lena. Right, okay. If you are watching this as an aspiring hypnobirthing teacher, do remember that in less than 2 weeks, I'm running my free training. And perhaps the reason you're in this group is that you've signed up to it. It's 4 days of free training to help you see whether running a hypnobirthing business is right for you and how you can have the best possible start. People do, you know, watch the free training that are already trained because it's lovely reminders and will definitely get you feeling pumped and motivated for your business, Okay, so that starts a week on Monday. I'll pop the sign up just in case you haven't yet signed up, or if you know somebody that might be interested, please, please, please do share the link with them. Have a great day, everybody. I shall chat to you all soon. Bye.